G'day there, it's Dave here, Dave Mills, with another exciting video in the Scotch Gambit series, and I want to talk to you about the two knights defense. And it's one of the most common ways to be, to be attacked, to be addressed. And now I've decided to, because the videos are getting way too long, I'm going to break this up into two parts. Okay, so for starters, the two knights lives up to its name, and so white actually gets this weapon, this advanced e-pawn, and that's one of the advantages of the fact that you play d4. The e-pawn is quite a nasty weapon. Now, how does black deal with it? Well, counterplay is usually the best way, and there's a couple of there's actually three main ways for black to deal with it. But we're going to in this video just concentrate on d5. I'm not going to look at knight e4 or anything like that. So the other lines. So after d5. What's actually happened is it's created this weakness, and the bishop is now able to completely reduce the activity, immobilize that piece, pin that piece. So bishop b5, very logical. Knight e4, and you've got to keep that knight. Now, what happens if the knight goes to g4? Alright, well, you just chase it, and does this look good? You can't take the e-pawn because obviously this knight is pinned, it's not defending the knight, you just lop it off. So, and does that look like a good position, or does it look like it's very tasty? So, you can see why the knight goes to e4, and alright, now the knight takes the d-pawn, and now the pressure is, the momentum building on, the attack building on c6 is actually quite beautiful. So see a pin, break a pin. So the bishop has actually now bringing some balance to, two pieces attacking, two defending, and so we will have a look at if instead of bishop d7 first, we'll just trust my notes here. If knight to d7, alright, back here, instead of knight g4 or knight e4, if the actual knight went to d7, alright, then white has just a massive lead in development here. And after bishop e7, rook e1, castles, knight d2, knight b6, h3. Alright, this is a good move, gets a bit of luff for the king, prevents the knight being immobilized, very important knight there on f3, and then a6, and then bishop d3. So this is a very, very important point, which is that pieces are swinging over to the king side, waiting the king side, and we can see where this knight is heading. It's heading over here to f1, to g3. Alright, to be part of the attack and to get in here to f5. This is a brilliant attacking square. Alright, so going back to the knight e4, knight takes d4, bishop d7. Alright, going back to the main line, bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, castles. Alright, and now in this position here, there's a few responses. There's c5 after castles. Bishop takes c6. Castles. Yeah. I think I've skipped a move here, and bishop e7. All right, is a main move here, and the idea is to save the bishop and play c5. So alright, so there we go. That's a funny thing. But let's look at bishop after castles. Bishop to e7. Alright, f3. Now this is a surprise move. You would think, oh, that's not very good, pinning down the knight to the king. But after it actually activates the f pawn, actually gets the f pawn involved, and threatening this really black's only really good piece here. And so knight g5, of course, looking to sort of blockade this position, close this position down, and so f3 is a bit of a player move here. Bishop c5 was a different line, but anyway, so knight to not forgive me. Sometimes I write my notes in a very messy way. So knight g5 and f4. All right, knight e4. All right, with this constantly accelerating the position, accelerating the f pawn. Knight e4, knight c3. All right. Obviously, you're not worried about the doubled c pawns if knight takes c3, because you've always got knight to b3 and having a pretty solid position. Knight b3, and then you play c4, knight d4, and so on. Then c5, and then knight e2. So it's very, very logical, and you can just sort of bind down that position. Once your pawn goes from c4, c5, and then knight e2, you've got a real crushing bind on the position. So if you want to see what I mean, if black does take, then you recapture, and the idea is knight to c3, and to look at c4, c5 as the line that you want to play. All right, so and knight e2. All right, yoke. Back, and then when they advance, the knight back to d4, and so on. Anyway, so just to trot that back, after knight c3, typically, this is the response. So you don't have to worry about it. You've got your plan to play the knight back and to get a c4, c5 in there, and play the knight back to d4, and just get your pawns mobilizing and moving down the board. Okay, so now instead of bishop e7, I just want to because it's a lot to take in. After castling, instead of bishop to e7, you've got bishop to c5, and trying to create a dark square blockade now. It's trying to really control the dark squares, and so let's just quickly look at it. So bishop c5. This is yeah, this is a very, very interesting position now. See, after bishop c5, you've got this. knight to, I don't think I've actually gone back to the right one. Sometimes that actually happens when you're pressing all these lines. Anyway, the other idea of bishop c5 is to play knight to g5. So I haven't quite found where I'm looking for. I think yeah, bishop c5 after knight e4. Sorry, yeah, knight e4. Yeah, no, I've actually gotten a bit lost in the maze of lines. Okay, so there you have it. We'll look at. I'll fix it up for the next video. And oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna go need a coffee. And so yeah, enjoy this. Go through the moves yourself. Do the time. Spend the time with it. And then turn it into a deadly weapon. There's nothing wrong with learning and all the traps that come along with the Scotch game as well. So I'll be doing all those videos. Alright, take care. Bye!